Howdy folks, welcome to Katie Phillips Scrapbook Designs. I'm Katie and today we're going to work on page number 7 in the Life in Full Bloom mini album. For this album we're going to use the Garden Charm paper pad by Recollections. Okay, for this page we have our base page which measures 7 1/4 inches. We're going to score the 7 1/4 inch side at 6 3/4 and 6 1/2, and it's 4 1/2 inches tall. We have a couple of flaps. These are 4 inches wide, which we're going to score that side at 3 1/2 inches by 4 1/2 inches tall. We have one pocket that is 5 1/2 inches tall. We're going to score that at 1/2 inch, then fold that under, and then score again at 4 1/2 inches. And it's 3 inches wide. We're going to score the 3 inch side at 2 1/2 inches. We have some accordion flaps. These are 6 1/2 inches wide by 9 1/2 inches tall, and we're going to score these at 4 1/2 inches and 9 inches. We've got some 110-pound cardstock, so this is all 65-pound. We've got some 110-pound cardstock. This is 6 by 8, and we're going to score the 8-inch side at 4 inches. For solid cardstock, and this is going to be used to mat the base page and the accordion flaps, we have 9 pieces at 6 3/8 by 4 3/8. We have one piece at 5 3/8 by 3 3/8. We have one piece at 3 3/8 by 4 3/8. And one piece at 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. And then for pattern paper, we have the base mat, which is 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. We have a piece at 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. We're going to I need to cut 2 more pieces of this. This is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then we've got one at 2 by 4 1/4. And one at 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. Cut 2 additional pieces at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 and 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I brought the total for each of those measurements of pattern paper to 3. Now we're going to start on scoring. I ended up also cutting an extra piece at 3 3/8 by 4 3/8. So next step, we're going to add which piece is this? 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. We're going to glue this down to one of the 3 3/8 by 4 3/8 solid cardstock pieces. And just a reminder, these videos are process videos. They're not instructional videos per se. I am working on a full-fledged tutorial, step by step, start to finish. It's just taking me a little longer then I expect to do some kind of learning how long that process takes. That will be the last video that goes live in this playlist, and it may be maybe a couple of weeks after I do the final assembly of this album before that tutorial goes live. I may even start into another project before I'm able to get the tutorial live on the channel, but it will be a thing. It will be coming. This is I think this is the 2 3/8 by 4 3/8, or maybe it's the 3 3/8. So yeah, this is the 2 3/8 and 2.5 by 4 3/8 and 4.5. I think. No, 4 1/4. 2 1/4 by 4 1/4 and 2 3/8 by 4 3/8. If you want to double mat this piece, you could. It's going to add a little bit of bulk to the mini album. I am not double matting this section just to save on a little bulk. So this is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, which still leaves plenty of space to create a pattern paper frame around a 3x4 photo. So this is going to be page number 7, which means I want this over here. And because I know I want to mount accordions to the base page, and that they're going to be inside these two side flaps. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut away some of this corner. Just so that we don't have a whole lot of bulk sitting at the corners. But I want to make sure that I come right to the edge of the base page. Make sure that score line is like right there at the edge. Maybe even a little bit past it. Okay, the other flap, make sure that those two score lines line up. Make sure that the score line on the flap lines up with the 6.5 inch score line on the page, because there's not going to be a lot of wiggle room. going to go ahead and I'm going to mat this side. And I'm going to take that extra piece of 4 3/8 by 3 3/8, and I'm going to mat this 4 3/4 or 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece on top of it. That way the two outer flaps are both double matted. So it's going to look like that when closed. I was reading a post in a Facebook group that I belong to regarding mini albums, and somebody asked something along the lines of, what's one of the hardest things to get over when you're starting a mini album or starting to do mini albums? And one of the answers was the idea that things will never be completely straight. I just had to laugh. That is so true. Things are never going to be completely straight. Just have to cut them to measurements and hope that everything will close. Now it looks like I'm going to need to trim just a hair off of here. Okay, so I trimmed a hair off. Just a sliver. But now it is not wanting to position right, so put up one more time, fresh glue. We need the score line along the top to be just above the top of the page, like just touching the top of the page. And I'm going to cut just a sliver off of this one. And we're going to want the score line on this one to be just below the bottom of the page. So it's like the edge of the score line touching the bottom of the page. And make sure that these two flaps are going to close. Perfect. Now are these going to close? Yes. Now we need to get that matted. Use that. I'm going to use that one. Do I want to use that one? I'm going to use this one. And that's already a little chunky, so I think I'm going to forgo matting these pieces. And I think we're just going to move on to the folio. So here's the 110-pound cardstock folio. And we're going to, I think I cut these two pieces to the wrong dimensions. Yeah, quite significant one. So I'm going to redo the dimensions on these. Okay, I cut this piece to 5 7/8 by 3 7/8. And this piece to 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And that's going to fit. So I was off by 1/2 inch on both dimensions. And I have no idea why I'm gluing this side down first. It's obviously early in the morning. I need more caffeine. See, this is that whole nothing is ever going to be straight. Learn to get over it. If you're a perfectionist, this hobby will have one of two effects on you. It'll either drive you crazy, or you'll learn to get over your perfectionism. And this just closes up by inserting the folio right in here. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more mini album related content. I release new videos every Friday and Tuesday. If you have a question, leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I will leave links in the description box to all the materials that I can find online. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.